Hi team, a few basics on how to record in MyFitnessPal. You'll notice I have two devices here, the Apple and the Samsung. So the apps are the same but slightly different, so I figured I'd use them both here to show you what we're doing. So let's add some food in. First of all, don't worry about my calories. I'm actually trying to build muscle. I need more calories based on the amount of exercise I do. I do not want you to have 1,800 calories if you're trying to lose some weight, because that will just put on weight for you. So each bun will have our customized based on what our goal is. So for me, it's to build lean muscle, and the amount of exercise I do, it's very important that I actually eat more rather than eat less. So let's have a look at breakfast. Say we want to have some breakfast. We just add food and we can have a look at what we normally have for breakfast. So let's say you're going to have a boiled egg. You're going to have some boiled egg, maybe a little bit of avocado. So we might find that that stuff is already in our list of food. So for example, I can see 1 egg cooked whole poached, and so I might choose that. But let's say it's not in your food. We're going to go egg. And all I have to do is search for egg, and you'll notice there's a whole range of different eggs that come up. So rather than using the one I've got, I'm going to search from scratch and have a look. I want you to notice that there's a little green marker on here. Now this green marker says that that food is put in by the national database, not put in by a stranger. So that's actually a far more accurate recording of the egg that you're going to have, rather than say someone else's egg or someone else's scrambled eggs. You don't know how they've made their scrambled eggs. So we're going to add an egg. Generally an egg is around 70 calories. You can see the proteins, you can see the fats, and you can see the carbs for that. Now let's say you're not sure what size you had. You can change in the settings how you define your meal, whether that be, in this case it's an egg, so whether that be a size or whether that be a gram. Now we generally buy large eggs, so you might say I had 2 eggs today for breakfast, so I go 2, I save, and it's done. Now you might have actually had, so you can see a whole range of green ones here. You might have had a egg white instead of eggs. Now it's fascinating. I was looked at this morning. If you type in egg white space, and again, remember I'm trying to find the green ticks if I can. Just look at the comparison between the egg white and the standard egg. One has, or let's go with 2 servings here, so it's the same. Tick. So 2 large egg whites or 2 large eggs. One has 34 calories, one has 143 calories. So that egg yolk contains a significant amount of fat and a significant amount of calories. So the macros are your carbs, your fats, and your proteins, and that's what we're going to have a look at. So there is obviously less protein in the egg white, but there's also significantly no fat, and we want to perhaps look at those 3 macros as time goes on. But this week, we're not worried about that. We're worried about just knowing how to use the tool. So we're going to add that in. We had 2 eggs. This one had egg whites, that one had eggs, and we're going to add that in. Now, let's say I had an apple. We're also going to use some scales. So I've got myself some digital scales here, and I'm going to set that up. And I'm going to say I had an egg and then I had an apple. So we're just going to put the apple on the measuring scale. So my scale here, just going to add my apple on. Generally an apple will weigh around about 100 grams. Your normal size apple, this one's 150. So it's just a normal size apple. But it's great to weigh it, because all of a sudden I said an apple was 100 grams, and in fact it's 150 grams. So we put the apple in. So let's type in apple. We had an apple today, so we're going to add that in, apple. And again, I'm going to search because I want you to use preferably use the correct version. So I'm going to go apple, medium. Maybe we could change that and go to grams, tick. And this was 143 grams. So I'm going to go 143, tick. And I can tick and you'll see that that's added the apple in. So here we're going to add in an apple. Search again, picking the green one. If you think it's just a medium, well, that's fine, tick a medium. But you notice, have a look, my medium here is 95, my accurate measurement of 143 is 74, and I use the exact same recording. The last thing I want to discuss is coffee, because we all have a coffee in the morning, so let's write coffee, and this is such a classic. I see this all the time. If I write coffee and search, and maybe in this one I will write, it's recording both because these two are syncing. This time I might write cappuccino. Cappuccino. I don't know how to spell it. Hopefully it'll find it. Cappuccino. All right, now here it's come up with other people's versions of cappuccino, and you think I'm going to the coffee machine. I'm going to, what is this? I'm going to order a skinny cappuccino. There it is, 1 cup. That sounds about right. Here, what you might say is, well, I make my coffee at home. So let's just say I have a black coffee, fine, and I have that with milk. So why don't I add some milk in? But my milk is almond milk. And I'm going to say, well, how much almond milk do I have? And I know that I pour about that much almond milk into my Nespresso machine in the morning. So that's 75 milliliters of almond milk. You'll notice here that there is a barcode on my almond milk. So I'm going to take this one here. I'm going to go, instead of using their cappuccino, I'm going to add food. There's a barcode up here. Click that. Now I get a barcode. I'm going to put it near this here. It's going to record that data. It's now going to tell me, I'll put it in front of here so you can see it. It's going to tell me that my almond milk at 250 mils is 40 calories, but I didn't have 250 mils. I had 75, so I'm only going to record 0.25 of that serving. Tick. Because if you go to soy cappuccino or whatever it was from McDonald's or something, or coffee here again, almond milk coffee. Why don't we time that in? Almond milk coffee. Search. Probably doesn't know how to search for Elimonde. So, did it come up with anything here? You know, you might think iced coffee with Starbucks would sound about right. Or ground coffee with milk. Everyone has a different, look at this one. Coffee with skim milk 50. Milk tea coffee. Everyone's got a different version of their coffee. So it's always better to actually measure your own amount. Cross. Search. Coffee with almond milk, 14. Well, actually, that's not much different to mine, so that's probably good, but you weren't to know that. Let's have a look at the macros here. That person has said it's 14 calories, 0.5 carbs, 0.8 fats, 0.7. Now, one of the things you can do is you can turn your phone sideways, and it will actually give you the same measurements for those carbs or those macros. So in this particular case, my black coffee with unsweetened almond milk has got supposedly 0 carbs, fats, and proteins. And so is the other one, but it's 0.5, 0.8, 0.7. They're pretty much similar, but, you know, whatever. So it's a good idea to make your own and measure your own. Here we have an avocado. Don't measure the avocado on the scales as it is because it's got the skin and the stone. So you might want to split that open, take the meat, the flesh out of it, put it in the little measuring container and measure that up. Because once again, knowing exactly how much avocado you're having is so important. Let's put avocado in so you can see that difference. Avocado, search, pity I can't type. Now, again, I'm going to choose a medium. This looks like a medium. It's actually probably a small. And it's got 240. Well, what if I then, because I've already measured this, what if I measured this and said in grams, I'm going to have a whole avocado, that's 60 grams. Without the stone and the skin. So what did it say before? 240? It's now 96. So it's so important to measure your food. So let's cross this one out and go avocado. Especially these small babies these days. They're so small, these avocados. Search. There we go. One medium avocado, 240. But by measuring it, I can see that it's only 96 calories. So there's a couple of things to do. I'm going to show you recipes in the next version.